Hello, students. Let's go to page 101 of your book. And we're talking about people, alignment, and change. And the first part of the lecture here, and this will be the last part of today's video lectures. But what does people alignment involve? People alignment involves ensuring that the skills and behaviors of employees within the organization will enable the effective implementation of the organization's strategy. So, in developing required competencies, executives face a make-buy decision. Let's talk about that. Buy means recruiting and selecting new employees who will fit with the desired change. Make means training and developing within current employees require new competencies and behaviors. So I want to bring you to Exhibit 5-1 in page 102 of your book. And you're looking at the steps and disadvantages for make-buy options for changing human resources. And you can see that when you look at the make all the way across, there's training and alternate incentives. When you look at advantages, you want to take advantage of existing knowledge and skill base. And then disadvantages may be slow. Not all current employees are willing or able to make the change. And this component, well, obviously that's knowledge development. And it focuses on developing understanding within employees of new strategy and requirements for change. And this is what's really important. And then it says by discussions, groups, etc. So the two components of training for change, well, we got the make, now the buy. The steps are recruitment and selection. The advantages are, can we quickly add required knowledge and skills? And the disadvantages, they may undercut morale and commitment of existing employees. This component, okay, self-development, focuses on developing capability within employees to enact required new behaviors. So here's the suggested changes and showing employees what needs to be done. This is where the buy-in comes in. We need to give them the resources and the capacities to make the change. And by here, that's BY, role-playing, experimentation, real-time feedback. And feedback is so feedback is so important it isn't funny. So when you talk about this is not an either-or choice, and most change effects will require both make and buy. So not employees will always buy into make and buy. But in putting theory into practice, okay, when you look at on page 103, in order to develop required human resource competencies, organizational leaders need to align the selection, training, development, and removal of employees with the behavioral requirements of the desired change. One of the hardest things to do is let someone go if they can't catch on to the new game. If they don't buy into the change, why? Because the change is necessary. So let's look at the positive part. Look at Exhibit 5.2 on 103 again. And you'll notice initially I read right across the top. But when you look at knowledge development and skill development as components, they focus on knowledge development focuses on understanding new strategies. And that's what you want your employees to buy into. If you want to develop them, you got to have them understand what the strategies are. Like, how does it benefit them? That's what you want to know. It isn't just the organization. How does it benefit the employees? And then there are requirements for change. How do you get them to look into those requirements? And then by classroom lectures, discussions, and groups. Well, in training, you have a lot of discussion. We have a classroom in school, we have a classroom at work, but we're open to discussions. Groups get together, they role play. Look at that as well. In skill development, when you role play, you get into the trenches with the training. Developing employees' capabilities and looking at new desired behaviors. I mean, think about all these restaurants, eateries. People went and sat there all the time. Takeout was an additional prop to the business. Now it's the mainstay, right? Well, how do you get employees to buy into that change? It's like it's necessary. There's no other way to put it. We have a ban on eating in restaurants right now so we can get by coronavirus. And will we fully go back to just eat in restaurants? Or will people's psyche be changing? You know, like I said, I have to be ahead of you when I write these courses. But as I'm sitting here right now, there's a ban. I don't know how long it will be. But if the ban is lifted, again, will employees be trained well enough to go back to same old of what they used to do, but also have to deal now maybe with the mainstay will be takeout and not eating? How do employers compensate for that? Because without customers, we don't have business. Well, customers have adapted to change, and they're afraid of what would happen if they didn't make these changes. So, look, putting theory into practice. We need to change behaviors because customers' behaviors have changed. We need to be able to redirect our energies on knowing what works and what doesn't. We also have experiential learning to develop skills that focuses on behaviors and allows employees to try new things out, but get feedback on that. Look at that as something positive. So, training fade out, we have experiential training, but training fade out, and I'm trying to see where this is in your book. Page 104. That refers to the failure of behaviors learned as a part of a training exercise. So, this is about transfer to on the job experience or to disappear over time when training fades out. Maybe we have to train differently on sanitation. I'm still using the restaurant example. We have to train on catering to employees that want takeout. how do we do that? We need to learn new things. We need to put Lewin in the driver's seat here. So if we get supervisory managerial support, does the employee supervisor or manager, the leader, endorse, encourage, provide feedback, and reward how well we're doing on new behaviors? This isn't a time for leaders to look back and say, I don't understand if this is working or not, because we need the feedback to know and to get that feedback from our employees. And then everyone gets on the same page. So certain types of training fade out, certain types of training come back in. So that's the end of what I'm going to do today. And then next I'm going to continue on peer support. And that'll be on Wednesday. Now, what I need you to do is move into your DQs for Tuesday.